This is the best workout to build big and defined arms. Here's the thing, when we're talking about defined arms, that means leaner arms. So obviously you have to make sure your body fat percentage is at a decent percentage, man. If you're holding on to a lot of body fat, you do want to make sure you're eating good to get some of that off. Now, with that said, these exercises I'm gonna give you 2 for your triceps and 2 for your biceps. If you do these consistently, your arms will grow. I'm also gonna give you my Tricon technique in a different variation. All right, so you're gonna get to do that when it comes to the tricep exercises. Here's the outline of this. You're gonna wanna do this workout probably twice per week if you're really trying to grow your arms. If you just want a great workout and you want to plug something in to have a great workout, then do this once a week. You're going to be fine. You know, if your goal is building bigger arms though, you do want to add that frequency. So typically 2 days rest in between, and then you can do this twice a week. With that said, the very first exercise we're going to do, man, it's an elongated stretch exercise for the triceps. One of my all-time favorite tricep exercises because you get a very deep stretch with this overhead cable extension. However, we're gonna put a different spin on it, man. You're gonna do my Tricon-S. So Tricon stretch. If you've done my Tricons, you know it's all about the isometric contractions. Typically, you're holding those in the peak contracted position, or to better clarify, the shortened position. Now, with this exercise, you want that fully stretched position to be your isometric contraction. So what you're gonna do is get your arms straight up over your head, and then you're gonna allow, you're using a rope for this. Definitely make sure you're using a rope and not a straight bar, because this is gonna be a lot better for your elbows. So if you're trying to use a straight bar for this exercise, it's gonna be hard on your wrists, hard on your elbows, and the angle of the exercise can also place too much stress on your shoulders. So all 3 of those joints. Now that's why I want you to make sure you're using a rope. It allows you to get a lot more comfortable hand position. Now, again, when you're doing this exercise, you wanna hold that stretch. So if you're familiar with my Tricon, like I said earlier, you know they're 9 reps. You want the first 3 reps to be full range of motion reps with an explosive concentric, meaning you're gonna take the weight all the way up, the hands are gonna be all the way up above your head, then you're going to gradually stretch. Allow the weight to stretch your triceps as much as possible on the way down, but then you're gonna explosively contract back to the top. You're gonna do that for 3 repetitions. Now the next 3 reps are all about the isometric holds. Now this is where it changes. So for this, you're gonna wanna hold a 5-second stretch at the bottom position. When your hands are towards the bottom, that's when your triceps are fully stretched. So this is gonna be a loaded stretched position. So you wanna make sure you're using a decent amount of weight with this exercise. Typically when you're doing the Tricons, you're doing 9 repetitions. So you wanna find a weight that you can do that 9 repetitions with, but no more. So don't stop at 9 if the weight is light enough for you to do 12 to 15. You're not using enough weight to take advantage of this stretch mediated movement that we're doing. That's what we're doing. We're holding that stretch. It's stretch mediated hypertrophy. It's gonna allow your triceps to get a lot more time under tension, a lot deeper stretch to really dig into those muscle fibers. So you're gonna do your 3 isometric holds like you do all of the other Tricon sets. So 3 isometric holds, but only 5 seconds. 5 seconds at the bottom for each, then go back to the top. And your last 3 reps are the same slow, full range of motion, controlled reps. So that's the first exercise, and I want you to do this for 3 sets. So 3 sets of 9. Now, the next tricep exercise is my favorite mass building exercise, and it's the parallel bar dips. I love parallel bar dips. If you've watched enough of my videos, you see me include these in a lot of my tricep exercises. Now, the machine I'm using allows you to offset your own body weight with this little plate. You may not have that machine, so if you don't, just do body weight, your full body weight if you can. If you can't, you can actually hook up a resistance band to this to offset your body weight. Whatever you can do with this exercise, because this is one of the best exercises, because here's the key to growing muscle. You want to overload the muscle as much as you can. So when you're using your full body weight, you are overloading the triceps with a ton of weight. And the other thing you want to do, a little bit more upright and tuck the elbows into your sides. I see a lot of people doing parallel bar dips to where the elbows are flared all the way out. Now, if you flare them all the way out and lean forward, that will actually put more emphasis on your chest. The whole goal of this exercise that I'm talking to you about is for your triceps. We want to minimize the chest involvement. You're probably still going to feel it in your chest, but by bringing those elbows in tighter and getting more of an upright position, you only need to go about 90 degrees on the bend. You don't want to go too deep. If you let your elbows go too high at the bottom of the position, you're going to feel this more in your shoulders. So just be wary of that. Just make sure that you're paying attention to that, about 90 degrees. Hold that and then contract back to the top. So what I want you to do here is 3 sets as well, but shoot for 10 to 12 repetitions. So really challenge yourself when you're doing these. This is gonna overload the triceps right after we just got that elongated stretch. So pairing these 2 exercises together is gonna give you a lot of growth. Once you've done your 3 sets here, we're gonna move on to biceps. Now, the first exercise, I don't include a lot for my older guys, but it is a straight bar curl, but we're gonna be using Tricons here. All right, so this is more of a traditional. This isn't a stretch Tricon. This is a traditional one where you're holding right at that 90-degree plane in the middle. Now, the reason we're doing the barbell for this one is it's going to keep your palms in a supinated position and a fixed position. Now, when you're in that position, I want you to think of something. I want you to really put your mind into this exercise, because when you're bringing the barbell up, the weight up, I want you to imagine you are breaking the bar in half, meaning where your pinkies are, I want you to try to get those pinkies towards the top of the bar. Think about bending the bar. You're bending it. If you're using that mindset when you're doing this, it's gonna give you a peak contraction in a supinated position. So this is gonna allow you to put a great emphasis on your overall bicep development. And since you're using a barbell, you can add more load. You can really overload this exercise, which is what we're doing. Similar to how we overloaded the triceps with the dips, we're overloading this with the barbell in a fixed supinated position. Now that you know that you're bending the bar in that top position, so we're gonna get into the typical Tricons, the standard Tricons. You're gonna do your 9 reps. So the first 3 are similar to what I explained with the other exercise. You're gonna do your standard full range of motion. You're gonna lift the weight up explosively. And then on your 3 isometric holds, I want you to shoot for 10-second holds if you can. If you're new to doing Tricons, go ahead and start out about 5 seconds, whatever you can do. But you're gonna hold these when the weight is right about the 90-degree position. So when your forearms are parallel to the ground or your elbows are in a 90-degree angle, that's where you're gonna hold this. And that entire time, those 10 seconds or 5 seconds, wherever you're starting with this, that's where your mindset is on bending the bar. That's gonna create a massive contraction. All right, so you're gonna do 3 reps just like that. So you're at your 6, you did your 3 explosive, your 3 isometric holds, and then 3 full range of motion, slower reps. 3 to 4 seconds to lower, 3 to 4 seconds to lift, and you're gonna do that for 3 sets. Now we're gonna go into our stretching exercise. Here we're actually gonna be doing we're gonna do an incline curl and an incline bench, but you're gonna be doing a hammer grip, meaning palms are gonna be facing each other, and you're not gonna rotate those up. You're not gonna rotate into a supinated position. You're gonna keep those palms facing each other. I also wanna make sure your elbows are slightly behind your body when you're leaning back in this incline position. You wanna get that full stretch in your biceps. Now, on the way up, keep the elbows straight towards the ground. Don't allow them to go forward and up. If you do that, you're gonna take some of the tension off of your biceps, and you don't wanna do that. You wanna keep the tension on the biceps. And the other benefit to doing the hammer grip position is we're gonna be working the brachialis muscle, which is a smaller muscle in between the bigger bicep muscle and the tricep. So this one actually widens your biceps so they look thicker from the front view. And it gives you a really cool 3D look as well from the side. So it's a phenomenal muscle to work, one that a lot of people neglect because they always do alternating curls, supinating curls, and things like that, and never really focus on the hammer style curl. So this is gonna be your second bicep exercise. Here, I want you to shoot for 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps there. You do these 2 exercises for biceps, pair it with the 2 that you did for your triceps, you're gonna get phenomenal results, man. But that's the workout. I hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions, just leave it in the comment section, man. If you do the workout, get a phenomenal pump, let me know how the workout was. I love to hear about the workout. So come back and leave that in the comments as well. But other than that, man, that's all that I got for this video. As always, get busy, get after it, and God bless.